Chapter 1932, Hell Tavern 1. Look, it's coming again. Uncle Yu looked solemn. Exactly the same building, the same sign of Hell Tavern. It seems like there is a ghost wall here. How can I get out of it? Zhang Yi said nothing, just continued to ride towards the road ahead, and used the intelligence system to analyze everything he saw around him. The scene overlaps 100%. You have been here before. When Zhang Yi encountered the Hell Tavern for the third time, he finally stopped his motorcycle on the side of the road. This is Mammon's dream. We must complete certain prerequisites before we can leave. Perhaps we must go into this tavern to know what will happen next. Zhang Yi's motorcycle stopped on the side of the road. He tied up the car on the side of the road, then picked up Yang Xinxin and leaned on the motorcycle, staring at the inconspicuous tavern with a cold look. Time's second hand was turned on, and his sixth sense was terribly strong. He had already realized that there was a huge danger in this place. What should I do? Should I try to destroy this place directly? Luke Heron wiped the sweat from his forehead, looking a little nervous. After all, her battlefield experience was not rich enough. Especially today, after seeing so many strange scenes, I have been sweating a lot. At this time, Kant spoke. This place is full of strangeness. We'd better not act rashly. Don't forget, this is the dream world of the demon god. It must conform to certain rules. After all, no one will deliberately create chaos in dreams. Dreams are subconscious, so there must be rules to be found. For example, the ghost territory we met before, they all conform to certain rules. The Crow soldiers are a fighting force, so the Crow of Evil is mainly based on the ability of fighting. Its individual combat ability is strong, but it did not show it at the beginning. Instead, it has been getting stronger as the battle progresses. If it hadn't fought with us, it wouldn't have continued to split. As for the undead evil baby, it looks scary, but it actually shows the naughty side of children. Destructive desire, innocence, gluttony, and fearlessness in the face of danger. Zhang Yi and others listened carefully to Kant's analysis. In the team, he has always been the sole figure guiding everyone forward. So, what does the tavern represent? Zhang Yi asked. His eyes were dark, staring at the tavern in front of him, thinking seriously. Kant said, "This area only has special areas like the tavern. We obviously can't escape, even with your ability. Well, we have to get in first and then break out. So my opinion is that you have to go into the tavern." Hearing this, everyone nodded. Although I feel that doing so may be risky, it is indeed the only option at the moment. Lu Kuoran comforted Zhang Yi and said, "Brother Zhang Yi, if you are worried about danger, I will bombard this broken place first. If it doesn't work, I will connect to the god of death." The mechanic Lu Karen's ideas have always been simple and crude. She likes to use hot weapons to solve everything. That's not necessary. Zhang Yi called out Lu Karen as well. "Karen, use the mechanical soldiers to explore the way first. Take a look at the situation inside." Lu Karen nodded, immediately took out 2 mechanical life form soldiers, and then controlled them to go towards the tavern. She stared at the display screen on the tactical helmet in front of her. But as soon as the 2 mechanical life form soldiers pushed open the door of the tavern, everyone saw only darkness. The next moment, the scene in front of Lu Karen's eyes turned into a field of snowflakes. They lost the signal. Lu Karen looked at Zhang Yi with some uneasiness. Zhang Yi took out a pack of cigarettes slowly, lit it for himself, and took a deep breath. White smoke slowly floated out of his mouth and dissipated in the air. He doesn't like smoking, but only uses it as a way of socializing occasionally or as a means to relieve his boredom. Nicotine is indeed very helpful in relieving anxiety and irritability. We've already come this far, so of course we can't back down now. He patted Lu Karen and Yang Xinxin on the head and said with a gentle smile, "Okay, you guys go into the shadows. Leave the rest to me. Brother, be careful." Although Lu Karen knew that Zhang Yi had strong self-protection ability, he still reminded him, "Don't worry, I know what's going on." Zhang Yi smiled, but his eyes were looking towards the somewhat old tavern with sharp gaze. Yang Xinxin and Lu Karen returned to the shadows. Even in the shadows, they could still provide help to Zhang Yi. When they find anything wrong, they can emerge from the shadows. However, most of the time, they stayed in the shadows so as not to add burden to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi put away the magic knife in his hand, and the magic chain changed its shape. After a swish sound was heard, it turned into chains and wrapped around Zhang Yi's arm. In a small space like a tavern, chains are simpler and more convenient to use, and are not as obvious as long swords, making them convenient for sudden attacks and dealing with various unexpected situations. The door of the pub was ajar, and it was dark inside, and nothing could be seen. A desolate wind blew across the wilderness, and the door of the tavern made a creaking sound. Zhang Yi parked the armed motorcycle outside and walked towards the pub. He reached out to push the door of the pub, and the moment his hand touched the door handle, a scene flashed before his eyes. Second hand of time, you can see the future 4 seconds later. When he saw the scene in front of him, his brows immediately frowned, and his eyes were filled with some surprise. The inside of the tavern looked extremely strange. Although it was an old tavern, it was only lit by 2 dim incandescent lamps. On the wall hung candlesticks from centuries ago, with flickering candlelight. Clearly from the outside, the space inside didn't look that big, as could be judged by the prediction of the second hand of time. When he entered the tavern, it was like a huge auditorium. Several people with strange figures sat at the table or at the bar, drinking quietly, and no one spoke. Some of them are extremely large, like a house, while others are as short as humans. It is unknown what race they belong to. But for some reason, there was an altar right in front of the pub, like a church. A woman wrapped in a black robe stood in front of the altar, with her hands folded in prayer. Suddenly, Zhang Yi's gaze stopped on a figure in the corner, and his pupils immediately contracted. Odibio. Zhang Yi held the door handle of the pub with his right hand, his eyes filled with surprise. He had not been in this place for long, and did not find anyone entering the area with him. But why would Odibio appear in the tavern? The patriarch of the Ao family, Odibio, sat in the corner of the tavern, drinking silently with his head down. There was a dark green liquid in the wine glass. He said nothing, with a dull expression on his face, and sipped the strange wine slowly. Could it be that he was the one who attacked me secretly back then? Zhang Yi already had doubts in his mind. Could it be that he wants to kill me and take away the lance of Longinus? Although his mind was in a state of confusion, Zhang Yi was not afraid at all at this moment. He reached out and pushed open the door of the tavern, then stepped into the darkness. After Zhang Yi used the god of death of love to force back the undead infant, the space of the entire tunnel collapsed. All the people inexplicably left that dark world and fell into other places. The Ao family was in a very strange space at this time. They were standing in a green field, looking intently at everything around them. The green thing is not grass or trees, but extremely dense rising gas. It is an oily green color and carries a strong toxin. As soon as they entered this space, several members of the Ao clan accidentally stepped into a puddle and immediately screamed. The liquid in the puddle was dark green in color, which directly corroded their feet into bones. Moreover, the poison was rapidly spreading up their legs, and soon their entire legs were almost completely bone-converted. The Ao family has always maintained their primitive lifestyle and are accustomed to all kinds of poisons and ferocious beasts. Seeing this scene, Ao Songtian raised the spear in his hand without hesitation and cut off their thighs with one blow. Blood splattered, and they survived by losing their legs. The bones of the creature's legs turned into bones, and it fell to the ground. Soon after, its legs shattered like glass and were quickly melted by the green venom. Ao Guanhai walked up to the 2 injured tribesmen, placed his hands on the places where they were injured, closed his eyes, and muttered something. After a moment, several black vines emerged from his palms and pierced into the bodies of the 2 men. Not long after, the 2 people's lost thighs actually grew new ones. This place is full of toxins, and there may be unknown risks. Everyone stay close to me, and be careful. The clan leader Odibio held a bone scepter in his hand and looked around intently. Black shamanic talismans were flowing on his body, and he was also stepping on poisonous liquids, but those highly toxic and corrosive liquids could not cause him any harm. He chanted softly, calling on his ancestors to guide them. At this mysterious moment, I call out devoutly to my ancestors in the name of my people. O ancient soul that has traveled through the mist of time, please listen to our prayers. On this vast land, our people are scattered like stars. May our ancestors spread their wings of protection like a solid barrier to resist all disasters, keep our people away from illness, and let every life live in peace. The road ahead is shrouded in fog and full of unknowns. Please let the wisdom of our ancestors penetrate the darkness and guide us in the direction of progress. Let us step firmly on the right path, chase the dawn of hope, and move towards prosperity and peace. We offer our sincerest respects and gratitude for the strength bestowed upon us by our ancestors. May this blessing and guidance, like an everlasting flame, be passed down from generation to generation and never extinguished. The shaman's prayers are extremely long, and every shaman must memorize all of them. It is like a code to communicate with the power of the ancestors. However, according to Ling's explanation of spirits, this communication might not be the so-called power of ancestors, but another kind of power of faith. That is the power of the AO family. The true ancestors exist in everyone's blood, preserved in the double helix structure of DNA. After praying with these blessings, Odibio felt that there was a force guiding him. He inserted the bone staff in his hand into the muddy ground of the swamp. Immediately, a black light curtain rose from the bone staff and expanded rapidly, covering all the tribesmen in the middle. The members of the AO family felt a calling, and the warm power made them feel at peace, and they began to chant the ancient spell together with Odibio. They chose a direction and started moving quickly in that direction. Every member of the AO clan ran at full speed like a lion on the grass. Soon they saw a hill rising above the swamp in the distance. Wow! A terrifying wailing sound was heard, and at the same time, the surrounding swamp ground began to swell, as if many pustules suddenly appeared on the face of a rugged person. When the people of the AO family saw this scene, there was no fear in their eyes. Instead, raging flames burned in their eyes. Immortal evil infant, I found you. The pustules on the ground burst open, and countless gray ghost walkers crawled out, emitting shrill roars, and then rushed towards the location of the AO family. For the past thousands of years, these are the ghost walkers that the AO family has been fighting against. They were once a human race on the African continent, but the race that the little ghost belonged to was inspired by the power of Mammon and chose to fall. They are originally of the same clan as the AO family. It is precisely because of this that the AO family cannot tolerate their existence. This has led to them fighting against the imp tribe for endless years. The immortal evil baby is the soul of the fallen human beings and the will born from the dream when Mammon was in a sealed state. Only when the two merged would this giant dead baby monster appear. The immortal evil babies and the little ghosts are the mortal enemies of the AO family. Precisely because they come from the same origin, after their fall, they hate humans on the surface of the earth even more. Over the years, the attacks on them have never stopped. The encounter here made Odibio believe that this was the arrangement of his ancestors, and it was fate. They must get rid of these monsters that are wreaking havoc on the grassland once and for all here. Odibio raised the scepter in his hand high and shouted in an unpleasant voice, "It is the spirits of our ancestors who guided us here. It is the mission of our AO family to destroy them. Let's put an end to their sins today and send them to hell." Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.